Before we dive into our rad new episode, we want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we record, the Wurundjeri people. We pay our respects to the elders past and present and to the ongoing living culture of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. What's up, and welcome to the Girls Gotta Work podcast, where we share the rad, the bad, and the mad reality of running a business. I'm Hayleigh, and I'm a recovering awkward person.
And I'm Jordan, and I'm a total hot mess.
And we're living proof that you can be a chaotic 20-something and still be a successful business owner. This week, we're talking about the rad, the bad, and the mad reality of customers.
I'm so excited.
This will be a good topic. But before we dive in, Jorts, how's your week been? How's your fortnight? What's been happening? Highs, lows, all the things.
Well, I feel like because it's been end of financial year, so work-wise it's just been hectic because everyone's like, I want to spend as much money as possible. I want to just do all of the things, and yeah, it's just been a bit nuts. So work has been flat out, but I don't know, it's really end of financial year. I always do a bit of reflection, and I'm so happy that I'm finally at a place in business where I'm working with like 99% good people. Like I don't really have any red flags in my client portfolio. At least that I can think of right now.
So we're getting, in this episode, we're going to talk about all the bad ones.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Scrunch up until now. So yeah, it's just, I love the brands that I work with, the businesses, and the people running them, which makes my job so much easier. And I love it. So yeah, it's like when I'm working, I'm fully present. I'm loving it. I'm loving what I do. And then on my weekends, like, you know, I just went for another weekend away. I had a girls' trip in South Australia, and it was like amazing, but it means I get to go and enjoy those, and I don't have to be like, oh shit, like what if a client texts me, or what if they're like, oh, I want to do this, or I can just focus on my weekends and enjoying my weekends, and then I can focus on work and enjoying work, and it's just like I'm enjoying everything, and it's just happy. And it's so nice.
What is this, balance?
Oh my god, I mean I don't know if it's still balanced, but we're getting there. We're getting at least work-life satisfaction.
Yay,
which I'm
love
all about. Yeah. So how about you, Hayleigh? How has your fortnight been?
So the last couple of days, my sister's been here from Sydney.
Yay, that's so exciting.
Yeah, so I haven't seen her for almost 2 years.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
so
the last time I saw her was December 2020.
Holy shit.
I went to Sydney, and then as I was coming home, they changed the rules, and I got stuck in hotel quarantine for 2 weeks over Christmas and New Year's. So it was like the worst experience ever. So I've been traumatized to like go anywhere.
Was that like they changed it when you were in the air?
Like 8 a.m. that morning. So the day before, so like the Sunday, I think it was, you could come back into Melbourne if you hadn't been in these areas, and you just had to and you were fine.
Yeah.
But then like overnight they changed it, and they're like, no, you have to quarantine. And because I couldn't come home, because then my roomies at the time couldn't go to work, I was forced into hotel quarantine.
Choice.
So yeah, it was a shitty 2 weeks, but anyway,
God, that's the worst.
Derailed.
So fingers crossed that doesn't happen for your sister going back up there.
Yeah, the rules are fine now. But yeah, so we went to a drag show, and tonight we are going to see Six the Musical. So next fortnight I will tell you all about it.
Okay.
No, I'll tell you what the musical is about.
The elevator pitch for this.
Actually, I don't know the whole thing, but
alright, well that's alright. We'll just wait till the next fortnight, and then you can tell us about it once it's already been.
It's about King George VI and his ex-wives, and it's like a comedy kind of take on that, but that's kind of all I know.
That sounds so good.
Yeah, I just stumbled across the music on Spotify one day, and I was like, I like this musical, and then it was coming to Melbourne when my sister was here. I was like, let's go.
Done. Sold. Amazing.
Yes, I'm so excited to see that tonight. And yeah, work same, end of financial year has been hectic, and lots of changes and lots of big decisions for the business, which I will talk about soon
when they're all finalized.
But yeah, it's been a good 2 weeks.
Yay. Oh, I'm so excited. It sounds like, I don't know, the first 6 months of this year were hectic and super, I feel like more roller coastery than usual. Yeah. Whereas now, everyone I speak to, a lot of people have also taken a week off also in this June area. Yeah, so June now it's July. We finally, we're rested, and we can get excited about stuff instead of being I just have to I need 2 more weeks until I have a break. I just need a week, and now everyone's had a week and they're fuck yeah, let's do this. Like,
Yeah.
let's do the rest of 2022. Like,
Yeah.
we've got this.
We got this.
Yeah. So, like, we're on the home stretch, which is so fun.
I know, crazy though that it's like July.
Nah, it's fine. This year has not gone ridiculously quickly at all.
Craziness.
Well, I suppose that's sort of not really, but kind of leads into our topic for today.
Not really.
Well, we are talking about the rad, the bad, and the mad of clients and customer
Yes.
experiences.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
suppose both of us, like, we're getting to the points in our business where we are working with 99% really amazing people.
Yeah.
So now we can spill the beans on all the people that came before.
Yes. What we've learned
What
from
we've
those
learnt.
precious clients.
And yeah, and we've also got some amazing client/customer stories.
Yes, from our listeners, yes.
I know you've got one.
I've got a really
that
good
I
one.
haven't read, and I'm
I
so
can't wait.
excited to hear it. Like, I saw it beforehand. It's like an essay, and I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna be amazing.
It's going to be good.
So, shall we dive into the topic, the episode? Shall we get started?
Yes.
Let's
to
do
the
it.
nuts and bolts.
So, we all have client stories, and we wanted to bring a bit of lighthearted fun into the mix because, like, we know not all client stories are filled with red flags. There are, yes, there's the bad stories, but there's also the rad and sometimes the kind of mad ones as well. So, yeah, we wanted to talk about all of the things that happens when you work in business and with other businesses and with customers because, you know, we're both service-based businesses, but we know a lot of product-based businesses
Yeah.
and we work with a lot of them.
Yeah.
So we sort of just want to share all of the rad, bad, and mad of all experiences with clients and customers in business because we're all about keeping it real and showing the whole story of business ownership. So, Hayleigh, why don't we get the bad out of the way first so we can sort of
Yes.
end it on a high note?
Yeah.
So, I'd love to know, what is your bad client story for us today?
What an intro. What is the bad story?
What is the bad one? Let's start. Well, because then we can end on
Yeah.
the good note. So, tell us all of the horrible things that have happened to you in business.
Oh my gosh. I feel like it's important that everyone has, not important, but it's I don't know, it's
Character building.
like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
That everyone kind of has to have a shitty experience at some point.
At least one.
Yeah. So I have come from like a customer service background. So I've got so many stories from previous jobs. But as a client service based business, when I first started, I think a lot of us who haven't already built up a portfolio of clients, I just said yes to anything.
As we all do.
I said yes to anything, and I have a client that I worked with at the start, and we hit it off really well. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is going to be amazing. I fully loved what they were about, what their business was about, and I was like super excited to help them.
The vibes were on, like
The
it was all
vibes were
just like
good.
good.
And there was like a couple of things I think now you look back and you're like, oh, that was a bit red flaggy. But
Like, we should have
Ignore.
picked that up.
my favorite saying now is like, oh, red flag. How about I just dye it pink? Like, it's not as bad. Anyway, and we had like been working together for a while, and I thought we had like a good relationship, and I thought we had good communication. We both worked very differently, which was fine, but we like made it work for the both of us. And then one day I was like working a little later than I normally do, like 8 o'clock at night, and I got this random email from them, and it was like, send me all the designs of like socials that I had. And I
Which,
was
like, you were doing for them up until that point.
So I was doing their stories for their social media, and I was like, this is random at like 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I didn't respond straight away because one, I shouldn't be responding at 8 o'clock at night. That's a story for another day. And then I was like, this is strange. So I responded in the morning. I was like, okay, why is that? Like, I just want to make sure I set them up the right way to send them to you. I just thought maybe, I don't know. So they said, just send them as they are. I'll sort them out. And I was like, okay, this is really strange. So I sent them like some of the documents, and I kept a couple to myself because I was like, this is just feels weird. So I don't want to like give them like all my eggs, I guess.
Yeah.
So I could take them and put them in their basket. I don't know. Figure out that analogy. And then they took it back, like all the things I was manually doing for them, which was really strange, and then ghosted me for 3 days.
What?
So I responded a couple of times. I said, just checking in. Do you want me to do XYZ tasks that we talked about a week ago?
Yeah.
And then ghosted, like just stopped talking to me for
Like,
5 days.
Full stop. Like nothing.
Nothing.
No contact.
Which was very strange for them. Like one of my other clients I speak to once a fortnight. So like for my relationship with that customer, it makes sense. But this client, we spoke every day.
Yeah.
We were always like checking on projects, like checking progress on things. So to not hear from them for 5 days was so strange.
And I have a question.
Yes.
Were they posting on socials using the stuff that you'd...
Not everything. So like obviously I knew the schedule of when things were going out. So they posted most of it, but not all of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was so strange. And then finally, and I am an overthinker.
No.
I don't know if you guys know this about me. So I was like thinking the worst. I was like, what have I done? What's going on? And I was like, is this like the beginning of the end? Which it kind of felt like it was, because I got to really see their personality in a light that had never come up before. And then
pink flag sort of reverted to red flags.
Yeah, I'm like,
and then,
I'm dyeing this bitch back to red. And then finally they spoke to me and tried to like, I guess, gaslight me in a sense, and like put the blame back on me that they, what did they say? They said, I'm just really disappointed you didn't do X, Y, Z. So I just felt the need to take everything back.
What?
And I just was so dumbfounded. I'm not a confrontational person. So I just, one, didn't know what to say in that moment.
Yeah.
And two, I was like, this is beyond not the truth.
Yeah.
And it just turned out to be something so small that like triggered this like domino.
Downward spiral.
Yeah, downward spiral of our like working relationship. And we didn't quite recover fully from then.
Yeah.
Because like one, trying to get the blame put onto you when like I was going above and beyond for a client is really hard to swallow.
Yeah. And because you were doing so much for them as well.
So
It's like
much.
you do so much and then one tiny spanner is thrown in the works.
Yeah.
And immediately everything that could possibly go wrong is your fault. It's like...
Yeah. And I do think now like it was probably like my one small thing that was the issue with them was like on top of a potentially really bad day for them on 10 other different things going wrong for 10 other different reasons in other businesses they had. But I was just like, I don't know, like it just really blessing and a curse. I got to see their true colours and see how they treated people or myself when they weren't happy with something.
Yeah.
But then it was like hard because I was like, oh, I have to get rid of this client. I don't know how.
Yeah. And I remember talking to you at the time because you were like, I don't know how to, I've never fired a client before. Like, I don't know how to have that conversation. And you were like freaking the fuck out.
I know, because I hadn't. And I was like, this is not how I would want this to go down. And I felt terrible. And it was just like really weird. I remember like fast forward a couple months because we both needed to finish the project together. I knew it was time to let them go. And like we jumped on a Zoom and they didn't even like turn their camera on. So it just like felt like they knew what I had to say before I said it and like didn't have the courage to like show up and face me, and that I knew like solidified that I made the right decision.
That's so tough though. It's like, and you know, like I know all the things are like about this. Yeah. And it's like you did so many cool stuff for them as well. Like you guys had such a good relationship to start with and it was going so well. And yeah, I feel like it's really, I don't want to say heartbreaking because I think that sounds a bit overdramatic.
Yeah.
But it is a bit like deflating to be like, we did so many cool things together and then one tiny thing happened and it sort of brought out your true colours, and then I've had to sort of go away and reflect like, did I do something wrong? And then you're like, no, I didn't do something wrong. Yeah. But they're making me feel like I did things wrong. Yeah. And like, yes, I think a lot of people like, you know, I know for myself, like I need to get stronger at taking feedback, but there's a difference between taking feedback and then gaslighting. And taking it out on you. And I feel like, when they start taking it out on you and taking things that go wrong in their businesses, taking that out on you as well, I think that's kind of bullshit and that's not fair.
And what I've like learnt from that is you really have to, like you kind of said at the start of this, like you have to love your client, especially client-based businesses. Yes. You have to love them because you're in the pocket of their business. Yeah. You know, you have to fully, especially what you do and what I do, like we have to become a part of their business. We have to love their business as much as they love theirs. Yeah. so when bad things happen, it is disheartening because you want that business to succeed so much.
Yeah.
Just as
And
maybe
you care.
yeah, it's hard.
It is tough.
But yeah, make sure you love your clients.
Make sure you love your clients. Moral of the story, make sure you love your clients. Don't dye the red flags pink.
Yeah, don't do that.
Make sure red flags stay red flags. But then, look, we've all been there. And, like, we all have to, what is it, kiss a lot of frogs to find the...
Find the prince?
Find the prince? Is that it?
Kiss a lot of toads.
Kiss a lot of toads.
Find the frog?
I don't think that's... Kiss a lot of toads to find the frog. No, I'm pretty sure. Kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or just queen.
To find your purse.
We're not good at analogies today.
They're rubbish.
Anyway, so that's probably the bad client stories.
Yeah, the worst I've had, which isn't so bad, but
It's not great though.
bad for me.
It's never a good feeling either.
No.
And it's definitely something that, you know, then you have some amazing clients and you're like, whoa, I don't have to put up with this shit.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, so my bad story out of the way. We need to bring up the vibe.
Bring the vibes up. Let's do this.
And let's talk about some rad customer experiences. Does any come to mind for you, Jordan?
Yes. So
Tell me.
to be honest, like I've had so many rad experiences working with
Yay.
clients. And as I said at the top of this episode, I'm really at a point now where I'm working with so many rad people and like 99% of the time I am just having a good time. And like,
Yeah.
there's still shit that I don't like doing in my business, and where I can, I outsource, and where I can't, I just suck it up and do it. But like
Yeah.
I do it sort of unhappily and I like trudge my way through. But for the most part, I have amazing experiences running my business, and that's why I still do it. But there is one that, like, you're not supposed to have favorite clients. But
Sometimes you have favorite clients.
she is like, and I don't think she would mind like me shouting her out on the pod. So Zoe, who was my first client ever,
Yeah.
she is a nutritionist and she's no longer running her own business,
Yeah.
which is the reason our working relationship ended. But I worked with her for over a year. She was like my longest standing client. She worked with me while I was still working full time in an agency. Like she
Yeah.
was super flexible with timelines and stuff because
Yeah.
like I was working after hours and like I don't have enough.
There's
good...
not enough hours in the day.
No, there's not enough hours in the day to say like how much I loved working with her. Like you meet those people and it's like you instantly click with them.
Yeah.
And you know, she is just like, one thing I like about working with clients is when you have someone that you can bounce ideas off.
Yes.
So yes, I know a lot of people outsource their socials because they want someone to just like take it off their hands and not have any input. And I love doing that. Like I'm more than happy to do that, especially with businesses that are, you know, more bigger. Like, you know, I have a wedding client and, you know, the owner of that is very much like, I don't want to touch it. I'm like, that's fair. Like
out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't like social media, you're trusting me to do it, more than happy to. But I think especially with solopreneurs and people who are the face of their own business, I do think it's really important to have a collaborative approach to be able to bounce ideas back and forth and be like, hey, I'll pitch this idea because I think this is really in line with your brand and the industry and what I think works for you. Do you want to put like your spin, a creative flair on it? Like, do you want to like bounce ideas off each other? And I think for everything we worked on together, so I, you know, did content packages for her, I did her email copy, I did her website copy, like I helped her with so many things. She was just so easy to talk to and she was so up for bouncing ideas.
We
and
love this.
Yeah, and like she would take on feedback, so she would be like, hey, I think I want to do this, what do you think? And I'd be like, well, you know, I love like A, B, and C of this, but like X, Y, and Z are probably not quite right in terms of like social media best practice or any of that. And she's like, cool, no worries, let's do this, and if we can test this, and if that doesn't work, all good, we'll just leave. And I'm like, it's so nice to like be trusted, like your experience is trusted, but they are also more than happy to like put their 2 cents in and be like, let's try this.
And when you have that kind of relationship, it's good, because sometimes when there's a bit of tension and you're getting constructive criticism, maybe it can feel like shit.
I'm so bad at it.
Because you don't have that relationship and you know that they're not really valuing what it is you put in to their work, and their constructive criticism can reflect that they are, you know, might not know the topic well enough, so then you're getting frustrated and then they're getting frustrated because you're not listening to them. But it's like, when it's good, it's good.
And it's good, it's so good.
And you're just like, yeah, I'll make the 100th change because I love you.
Yeah, it's literally, it's that's exactly it. It's like, I am happy to go above and beyond for all of my clients. There are a few red flag clients that I went, it's not below, it's like, you hit the mark, like you do what you're sort of expected. Because I go above and beyond for most of my clients, but there are some clients, especially the red flag clients, that I've really struggled to work with.
You just do the bare minimum. You're not...
Yeah, I do what's expected.
Yeah.
And sort of don't go above and beyond. But I think one of the key things, like there were sort of two key moments where I was like, wow, like, you're awesome, is like one, you know, we worked together for, as I said, a year, and there was one time where Alex was in hospital, and I wasn't able to get content to her because it was sort of like I was meant to do her content, like I said, on a Wednesday night, and then I had to take Alex to hospital, and then I was just like, he was fine, but like I was just worried about him and like texting him to make sure he was fine because it was COVID, so I couldn't stay in hospital with him. So I just sort of shot off an email from my phone. I was like, hey, Zoe, I'm so sorry, but I can't, like, I'm just not going to be able to do it tonight. Like, this is what's happening. And she, like, could not care less about the content. She was like, seriously, like, get it to me in 2 weeks. Like, whenever, I don't care. Like, how's Alex going? What's going on? And it was just, like, she cared about me and, like, my partner and, like, more about that.
You as a person.
Me as a person than me as a...
service provider.
And it was just... like, why, it was so nice because I was like, yes, obviously I want to do a good job and I don't like doing things late. I don't like missing deadlines, but the fact that, like, something happened that I was obviously out of my control and she was so, like, obviously, no worries. You obviously don't need to worry about this. Yeah. Obviously, you have other priorities now. Like, social media can wait. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I love you.
That's so nice.
Yeah, and I think when you have clients like that understand the human side of business as well and that you are human, it makes all the difference.
So much difference.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know, she was just, and like even as I'm talking, like I'm getting so excited.
Yeah, I know, you like can't stop smiling.
Yeah. But it is because, you know, like we ended up ending our working relationship a few months back because as I said, she took a job, like in a full-time job because, you know, she has young kids and she was like a bit sick of the constant hustle of trying to find more work and marketing, like doing all of the things. Like obviously I helped as much as I could, but it's the actual running of a business that gets exhausting after a while. And she was doing this for a while and she was like, you know what, I want to go to work. I want to come home. I want to hang out with my daughters and my husband and leave work at work. And I was like, absolutely. But like, we ended our working relationship and like she called me and like I knew it was coming. Like she'd given me sort of a heads up. She called me and she was like, you know, this is what the go is. She was like, but you know, I'm happy to like, if you just want to do one post a month to like maintain it. And like, she wanted to keep giving me work. I was like, no, like really, it's okay. Like, you know, I have other clients, like it's not like, please don't feel obligated to, but, and then she sent me a fucking gift at the end. And I was like, she sent me a gift as like a thank you for working with me. Yeah. And she was paying me to do, I was like, not the like, and gifts, like obviously everyone loves a gift, but like it's not my key love language, like words of affirmation is, but it was just like nuts because it's usually the other way around. And like, I think there's often a bit of a power dynamic between like service providers and the business. So like the business will be like, well, I'm paying you to do this, so you do this. And that is how it works, right? But it's almost like they're like up here and we're like down below and like they can sort of talk down to us. And it was like, it just felt like a really equal relationship and like we both really valued each other. And I think my biggest takeaway from that is like there are those like unicorn clients out there, like they're amazing and you can find them. But as we said, and completely fucked up the analogy, you've got to kiss a lot of frogs sometimes. And I was lucky Zoe was my first client. Like she was the first one that set it up and sort of set me up for knowing what I can have in a client. And then I've kissed a lot of frogs since. But you know, now it's sort of like, I think having had Zoe at the start and for so long, it's in the back of my mind knowing that that's possible. Yeah,
like what the good expectation is rather than having a bunch of bad ones and then accepting like the bare minimum of the next level up of betterness.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think it's just nice to know that regardless of where you're at in business, you can always have good experiences with clients.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you are putting, it's like that, you know, saying
we haven't been good with sayings today.
I've got it. The vibe attracts your tribe. Yeah. If you're putting out like goodness, you're going to find those like kind of good clients. So like after my bad experience, I had an amazing client come into my life, and it was exactly that. Like we got on our like discovery call and it was like instant. We just like knew we were going to get along, and it was. And like she was amazing, and similar to you, like she had to let me go recently because the business is not struggling but not quite doing enough to be able to afford me, which is fine. But same thing, like she cried having to let me go, and then I cried, and I was like, it's not goodbye forever, it's just for a little while
for now.
Yeah, so I think that's important to notice. When you find them, you know the difference for sure.
And it's nice knowing that they're out there, and that you can keep finding them. Yeah. Oh,
all so the good vibes.
All the good vibes. I'm sort of happy we started with the bad and then not finished because we still have a lot to go. But speaking of that, do we want to go into the mad?
Yes.
So what we're doing is we both have like not heaps of mad stories because a lot of them fall into like the mad/bad categories.
Yeah.
So we, as always, we put out like to our lovely Girls Gotta Work crew to be like, does anyone have any mad client experiences to share with us? And boy, have we got some.
We got some goodies.
So we're going to shall we get stuck in?
Yeah. We have gotten some amazing feedback from our listeners for our mad section of customer stories. So we've got a nice, real juicy one, which we're going to end on. But Jordan, I know you've got a couple of good golden nuggets. So I would love to know what some of our listeners have been through with customer stories. Tell me.
All right. So the beautiful Emma from Fox and Cactus has said, the weirdest interaction I've had was a few years back. I kept having the same girl ask me every few months for elf and goat stickers. So for context, Emma she runs an online store with like washi tape and washi tape stands and washi cutters and earrings and stickers and so many things. Like, so she sort of does it all, right? Okay. And like they're sort of a bit niche. They're
eccentric.
They're funky. They're a bit eccentric. I think that's a really good word for it. So I think elf and goat stickers not super out there, but like a little bit out there. Anyway, so the weirdest interaction I've had was a few years back. I kept having the same girl ask me every few months for elf and goat stickers, not together, and she seemed way more desperate for the goats. Like, I get requests fairly often, but this girl actually asked multiple times over 2 years. What? And I'm just like, so what did she say? She said, ask me every few months for 2 years. For like these same sort of stickers.
Wouldn't you just go somewhere else? Like
if the answer's no.
Like, what?
Surely you're just like, okay, this isn't my person. This isn't the shop.
Who's going to make you goat stickers.
Like, go find a goat specialist.
Type in goat stickers. This is the best. Anyway, is there more to that? Or is that...
No, that's it. I'm just like, I don't, as you said, like, just go elsewhere.
What? That is, we need to like, if this was the kind where we like did talkback radio, I'd be calling around, but like, I need more of this story.
More information. I have questions. We need more of this. So Emma, if you do listen to this, please slide into our
I like want to know more. Like, did you cave or did she like,
or did she
politely say no for 2 years?
Also, how do you politely say no to the same, like, weird request? Like, do you just say, like, sorry, nah, not the vibe?
In, like, super corporate world, it'd be like, as per my last email.
As per my last DM, I do not do elf and goat stickers.
I love
Does not matter how desperate you are for goat stickers. I will not cave.
Good on her for like sticking to her guns to be like, this is just not my vibe, it's not happening.
Oh my god, I know.
I probably would have caved and be like, fine, I'll make them for you.
I know, I still don't have like the willpower to have like a proper...
For 2 years.
Oh my god, for 2 years. Like, I also don't have the commitment to that. Like, so if I was the one who wanted elf and goat stickers, I'm not. It'd be a lol if I was that person.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't wait 2 years either.
But, like, I would have waited 2 years.
I would have found someone.
I would have found someone else or just like gotten different stickers. Like, I know Emma stickers and they are cool as. Like, there are so many different sets you can have. Why do you need a sticker around? Oh, God. So that was one.
That's a good one.
I'll dive into my second one, and then I really can't wait to hear yours as well. So Melissa from Scarlet Bird has said the following. So years ago, there was a lady who bought clothing from quite a few small makers. She always asked for an extra piece of fabric to make her husband a bow tie.
Oh, that's cute.
Which is cute. So she said, there's a very well-dressed couple out there with a man wearing a lot of colourful bow ties. But us makers all talked about her because she was actually an absolute bitch. If her clothing didn't fit properly, she made one of us cry. But that's another story. I'm like, I want that story! Because initially I was like, oh, that's like, you know, so nice. I was like, it's so cute. And now I'm like, hold on. What?
Although, like, if she's, like, imagine if this person's husband, like, is being forced to wear matching. Like, it's okay, because, you know, I love, like, a couple match kind of situation.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm for it. But, like, some couples aren't, so imagine. So, like, that kind of makes sense that she's a bit, like, tightly wound if something doesn't fit.
But imagine if he was like, I'm not about this, and she was like, too bad.
It's happening.
It's happening. Oh my God. Because, like, I'm all for a couple match, like, in a lot of ways. So, like, Alex and I match accidentally all the time.
Yeah,
like,
I think that happens with couples. You
get
like
used
those
to it.
you live with.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you pick up on their language, like you also pick up on their style. I bet it's like I like, and we usually change. Like one of us will be like, all right, we have to, like we have matching jumpers. Mine's like white, his is grey, but like they've got the same like writing on it.
Yeah, okay.
And so if we both come out in our like grub jumpers, because that's what they say, I'm like, you have to change. He's
One
like,
of us
nah,
has
you
to
have to
change.
change. Like one of us has to change. We can't both go out. Sometimes we do, but like there's a time and place for it. I think like weddings, when you like someone has like say like
formal,
if you're wearing
more
like a green
formal
dress
attire.
and they have like a green tie, like that's really cute. But imagine like this couple if they did it every day.
Yeah, that's a bit crazy.
I don't know.
I think I'd be into that.
Matching every day.
Not every day, but like
You could
often.
get around it.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the two that I've got, and a little bit nuts, but
They're crazy. I'm here for it.
I'm so here for it. And I think now that like we're reading these out, and like I know yours is a service based, but that's all I know about it. But I know that like a lot of product based businesses have a lot more mad stories, like just crazy requests.
Crazy.
And like we have crazy requests, but they're more like, hey, can you work Saturday? Or like,
or can you, like just make this happen in a day when it's like impossible. When I worked, this is kind of a sad story, but like also mad. I used to work for a Telstra business centre. Just imagine how many crazy stories I have from Telstra. But
so many.
This one sticks with me because it was just crazy. Like, oh, now I don't know if I want to say it because it's kind of sad, but like it really affected me.
I say we've gone down this road now. We're here with you.
Like I work for Telstra and I lived up in far north Queensland, so it's really hard to maintain like the copper wiring out there, especially like all the rain.
Yeah.
And this one lady told me that it's awful now. I don't want to say it. No, I'm saying it. This lady told me that her husband was going to kill herself and it was going to be all my fault.
What?
And she called me like 3 times that one week and just like hounded me to like make it happen. And I was just like in a call center. I'm not like a fixer.
Yeah.
And it was just like so awful.
Oh my God.
Because they couldn't get a phone line. And I was like, I get it, but I don't get it.
But it's also not
to, like,
on
say
you.
that to someone.
Oh my God, that's awful.
I know, crazy.
Shit.
It's like stuck with me, and I like, I just like can't unremember. I was like, good, didn't know what to do with my day. I was like, oh, I think I need to like lay down. Like I can't handle this kind of pressure.
Oh my God. I was like, what do you do? Like, were there processes for that sort of stuff?
Oh, there's so many processes, and like we were just like a call center. Like we just sold stuff. We didn't fix anything, so we didn't have like the ability to like get someone out there to like fix it. Like it wasn't our department, which is so. Like,
it's so corporate, but it is how it works.
It's so corporate, and it's so hard because I'm such a helper. Like I would fucking if I knew how to fix it, I would be out there trying to fix it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So like.
So did you have to be like, really sorry, this is not our job, like please?
And I had to like write heaps of notes on their account, and it was just awful. But
oh my God.
like I don't know what happened, but I was like, oh God, I can't handle this pressure.
That is crazy.
So that's a crazy story from my previous life working in a call center.
Oh my God. But I feel like that's what we were talking about, not specifically the story, but like when we were trying to come up with mad stories, they're all sort of like mad/sad or mad/bad. They're not just crazy. Like there's always like a tinge of like, oh, this is gonna bring the vibe down, and we don't want all the vibes to be down. So I mean, I have no idea if this story is gonna bring the vibe down or not, but I'm so excited to hear it. Hayley's been teasing me with it all morning. And as I said, I saw it like on her desktop as she was like printing it out. It's huge.
It's quite long.
And I'm so excited to hear
bear
it.
with us,
So
team.
hit me with it.
Okay, so this comes from Anonymous.
Ooh, love
You
some
know it's a
Anonymous.
good story. I kind of just want to read the first line, but I'm not sure. I'm going to say it, Jordan, and then we can decide if we're going to keep it. Definitely anonymous, please, because I'm terrified he will stalk me, is the first line. So
Interesting.
okay, so
Yeah,
I'm going
let's
to read it
include
as
that.
it comes. Earlier this year, I was contracted by a potential new client to manage their socials and their website. After chatting, we realized we actually lived 10 minutes away from each other.
Interesting.
I invited them to have a discovery call over Zoom and they declined, insisting that we meet in person. Begrudgingly, I accepted to meet. I don't typically meet people because A, I've never had a client this close to me, and B, I work virtually as it suits my family.
Yeah. This has like serial killer vibes to it.
A few days short of meeting, we had major floods, which physically separated us despite our proximity. In addition, both mine and my husband's parents' houses had flooded, and that was taking major priority. So I politely asked to reschedule or to Zoom as an alternative, and they became quite agitated at the inconvenience, as though it was my fault.
Ah, yes, because floods are totally your
Of
fault.
course.
Oh my god.
We mutually selected a fortnight from the event as it was totally unknown how long the flood would last. Within the fortnight, they began to message and email me more and more frequently, and with each email, they became more aggressive.
Oh my god.
They then started to give me detailed stories about previous people they had hired for the same role and how they had suddenly just walked away from their contracts. Alarm bells.
Hold on, the clients had walked away from their contract. No, the service providers.
Previous ones, yeah.
Oh no.
And this person was tired of being let down. While I responded with sympathy out of politeness, I could see the common denominator was them. The crescendo was that they emailed me out of the blue and accused me of hiking up my prices,
What?
in brackets, in a total hypothetical scenario which he had made up in his head. I had already quoted them in writing and hadn't discussed money since that initial email. They told me point blank that I was planning to lure them in and slam them with increased fees.
What?
At the point I finally decided to walk away, politely but firmly, I responded that it had become clear we were no longer a good fit, and I would now be retracting the quote and would not be attending the meeting. I also told them that it was disappointing that they would question my integrity, particularly out of absolutely nowhere. He emailed me back a totally scattered email about my professionalism and even went so far as to criticize me for not working 5 days a week.
What?
I really wish I trusted my gut from the beginning and learned a very valuable lesson.
Oh my god.
Crazy!
I have so many thoughts and also none at the same time.
You're like, I can just picture this person too.
Like, you've got the image in your mind of like what this person would look like. I'm like, so that what? They like not only
It's so layered.
it's so, and that's why I'm struggling to like articulate my thoughts because first off, blamed her. Yeah, so blamed her for
The
a
service
natural
disaster.
disaster. Sure. One thing that sticks out to me is like,
I know.
meet on Zoom, which does seem like serial killery. Like, why would you not want to meet on Zoom? Like, we've just come out of a pandemic, and I know Queensland was like not really locked down for as long, but like what? There are so many things. I don't know what to think. What would you do if like that sort of thing happened to you?
I mean, I feel happy that things happened in the middle so that they didn't sign a contract and like get started. Like this person was able to like leave before she started the work, because imagine.
Oh my god.
Because she said here that like people, like other service providers had just like left and he was tired of being let down.
Which is like the biggest red
Because
flag.
it's you.
Yeah. But we talk about that all the time. One of the biggest red flags for both of us when we're doing discovery calls is like, oh, I'm just so disappointed with like, from in my industry, like
same.
with social media managers, like they always let me down. They just don't get it. And I'm like,
Why?
Yeah, why? Like, why have you churned through 7 social media managers in the last 2 years? Like, what has happened?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of social media managers, and a lot of them, like, no one wants a really high client turnover rate. Like, everyone wants to keep the work. So why have so many either decided to leave or you fired them?
Yeah.
Like, that's gotta be a red flag, and it's gotta be on them. And, like, this guy obviously has, I'm assuming guy, I don't know. This person, like, what the fuck? I can't wrap my head around it.
Neither. And it's just like, sometimes I think that, like, this is why people get into businesses, because they could never work for someone else because they're just as fucking crazy. But then it's like, you also then have to find crazy people who can deal with your shit to work with, if depending on your industry or depending on your business. Like, if you need employees or you need people to help you with the work, you then have to find people who are going to put up with your shit. And not a lot of people. And that's like why we got into business, so we didn't fucking have to.
But it's like, surely if this person, I'm assuming, runs their own business, it's like, surely, sorry.
Just no words.
No, but like, surely there aren't people who are that batshit that they'd be like, I'd love to work with you. This is not a red flag at all. Surely there aren't many people who match that level of like, sure, you can walk all over me. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm also crazy, and I'm like, crazy plus crazy does not make a good match. But then crazy but sane also doesn't make a good match, because they're like, you know, the service provider will be like, I'm not putting up with this shit.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
I don't know.
Well, I think that well and truly fulfills our mad category. And like, I'm happy we brought the bad and the rad. Like, the mad, we definitely needed to link up to other people, because those are just wild, and
they're good stories.
They're so good. I'm so excited to hear what like the rest of our community thinks about them. Like, and also if you guys have had experiences like that service provider where like you've like, it's a red flag client story on steroids.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Blown way out of proportion. I'm like, I want to hear the worst like red flag. I know we want to do a episode on red flags, but like, I want to know how many people have had that level of like red flaggy craziness in a client or customer.
Same.
All right, we're gonna poll you guys, so like keep your eyes out on the stories. All right, well, I think that is all we have time for today.
It sure is.
And that is a wrap then. As always, we've loved being in your ears, sharing the highs and lows and everything in between of business ownership, and also with a dash of chaos thrown in for good measure. Obviously, we couldn't get our analogies right today, in amongst so many other things, because chaotic is sort of our language.
And if you want the good vibes to keep rolling, come and join the crew on Instagram and TikTok at Girls Gotta Work Podcast. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Until next time.
Bye.
See ya.